Well, he was a legendary winger and probably still is, actually, when he gets back out on the field. It is, of course, John Kirwan. John, welcome to Good Living. Lovely to have you here in Christchurch.
Thank you for having me. Yeah, no, I'm no good anymore on the rugby field.
I don't believe that for a second.
It's terrible.
You're here to talk about this amazing book that you've written called All Blacks Don't Cry, A Story of Hope. And I have to say, John, actually, after reading it myself, I'm sure there'll be a few All Blacks that do cry after reading this.
Yeah.
It's very emotive. Have you had that response?
Yeah, it's been, I mean, the response has been fantastic. I think, you know, the journey of the book and the whole mental health campaign has been an amazing journey for me as a person, and I think the book sort of finishes the puzzle. I think the awareness, you know, people seeing ads has been great, but just putting my story down means that people get a better idea and they can pick it up if maybe they're not in such good shape, and you know, maybe get some insights into what happened to me. And once you share something and you know, realise other people are suffering, then it makes it a lot easier to deal with and get better. Because you talk about the fact that if it does nothing else, you want this book to save people's lives, don't you? Yeah, exactly. I think, you know, I think when you're in there, it's such a terrible place to be, and you feel so alone. And I keep saying it's an illness, you know. If you had the flu for a couple of days and it didn't go away, you probably guts it out for a couple of days, and then, you know, if it wasn't getting better, you go to the doctor and get something for it. And we do that with most other illnesses except mental health, you know. We sort of, I don't know, try and tough it out, or, you know, and I think now that the awareness is out there, you just need to make sure that, you know, if you're not feeling too great, go and get some help and get on the well-being track. And get it all sorted, because things will improve, won't they? Yeah, definitely. I mean, I am incredibly, you know, I was speaking last night and I was laughing at some of the things that happened to me that were just horrendous. You know, when they were happening, I was lying in bed shaking, you know. But I think that through the other end, I'm a better person, and I think, you know, that's the whole message of hope. You know, don't give up. It's going to get bad. It's going to get better. You might take steps backwards, but at the end, when you come through, you're, I believe, a better person. And you know, it's a real discovery and a real journey. The amazing thing is that when you were kind of in the depths of your depression, you're at the height of your career. So how the heck did you manage to get out on that field and play for the All Blacks while you were suffering? I think people manage, you know, and that's what I did. And I think it was, I missed one game. I think you just cope, and a lot of people, you know, oh, I didn't realise you were unwell. You've been working with them for 5 years, because you actually can manage. Some people can't, you know, other days, you know, some days I couldn't get out of bed, but I managed to cope all the way through it. It wasn't easy. It wasn't always like that. I mean, I had an incredibly good run, and then once I got sick, I had a bad run for sort of 4 or 5 years. So, and there were many highs but heaps of lows during that. So, but you just cope, and I think that's one of the scariest things about mental health, is that, you know, we don't talk about it enough, and people disguise the pain that they're going through, and people don't really realise. So, you know, share and talk about it, and the awareness and will help. You talk about the fact that the All Blacks gave you a bit of a hard time when you were first starting out as well, and saying things like, you know, if you lose, it's your fault. Do you think, was that things like that a contributing factor? Or? No, I don't. Look, I think the most amazing thing that I talk about is everyone's looking for a reason. Yeah. You know, yeah. Why? Is it because you're an All Black young? Is it because, you know, it was hard? I mean, the All Black environment is incredibly competitive, and I loved it, you know. I mean, I loved being in that situation. It just is. I mean, mental illness and depression is not prejudice. It's black, white, yellow, skinny, fat, rich, poor. It just, you know, it just is what it is. And that's really important for people to know, isn't it? It's really incredibly important. But the other thing too is that I looked for reasons why for 2 years, instead of just accepting and saying, oh, well, you know, it was why me, I've got everything, I'm an All Black, life's good. And, you know, why is this? I was looking for reasons for everything, and I think that was sort of hindered the process of getting well, because it was, you know, me against it. And the day I actually accepted and said, look, if I've got this and I'm going, you know, to have it for the rest of my life, then I'm going to be very good at it. It's going to be, yeah, we're going to do this together, and here we go. And that was the day I actually, you know, started getting well. It's also a very selfish illness. You go very, it's about me, you know, and you're just battling to get through the day, that everything goes really internal, so it's very hard also maybe partners, wives, girlfriends who don't quite understand but don't quite get the illness. It's very hard on them because it's hard to understand sometimes. So, it's important to keep asking people for help and make sure you find the right people that will give you that help.
You've been well now, is it for 15 years?
Yeah, I've sort of been well. I mean, I've been well, I don't count. So,
which is great.
Yeah, wellness for me, how many of us are starting the diet and going to the gym next Monday,
Yeah, totally.
We're all doing that, aren't we? But wellness is actually about every day. So, I think about being well today and making sure I'm taking time out for myself today to be well, so I do things every day for my mental wellness, physical wellness, and so.
Can you give some examples of what you do, what works for you on a day-to-day basis?
Well, it's really interesting because the neat thing about what I do is I look for ways to be well. For example, I've just started playing the guitar. It sounds like I'm strangling a cat, but that's not the point, It's for me. It's like 15 or 20 minutes where I play the guitar and I feel good. I cook a lot when I'm at home.
What's your favourite dish, by the way?
Well, I have many. Because I live in so many countries,
Yes.
I have many favourite dishes. So in Italy, I really, really love all types of pasta. I mean, for me, I love just chucking an aglio olio peperoncino together, which is really easy and you can cook it in like 10 minutes. I do a really nice lamb. I have a wood-burning oven at home.
Oh, beautiful.
And so I do a lamb which I mix rosemary, very good olive oil and anchovies all together with rock salt. And then if you cover the lamb in that, you don't taste the anchovies, but it brings the taste of the lamb out. So that's sort of one of my
So has that been
Christmas.
a nice kind of surprise for you when you discovered other passions and have helped you on the way, that I love to cook, I'm enjoying playing the guitar?
Yeah, and I'm an active relaxer, and I think part of the journey of coming out of something like a depression is you really need to go inside. You have to got to deal with some problems and understand yourself. The nicest thing for me was I started again. I had lots of guilt that I had to work through. I had to get rid of those thoughts. I had to make sure that I was confident in who I was, in my own skin, the things I liked about myself, the things I didn't like, whether I wanted to change them or accept them. And so you go through a whole lot of processes. I also worked out that I'm an active relaxer, so I cannot just sit down and twiddle my thumbs, which is fine for some people. I need to do something like cook or play the guitar. I mean, I tried everything, when I was trying to get well. I tried meditation, and that wasn't really for me. And, so I think I made a bit of fun of the journey of trying to find something that was really, I call it my spirituality, it could be religion, could be reading a book, and I do a lot of reading, started the guitar in the last sort of 3 months and cook when I can. And
I think the wonderful thing about it, John, is I know that in this book you talk about the fact that a lot of people do come up to you and say thank you for you to making this so public. There was no one before you doing this.
Yeah, I mean, it's really interesting, isn't it? Because I think that for me, it's an illness. And it's an illness that can actually kill people.
And that's the tragedy.
That's the tragedy of it. And look, if there's anyone out there that's not well, and considering suicide or anything, just don't do it, because there is a way through this, and it's great out the other end. Although when you're in there, that's hard to understand. But I think, the most important thing is that it's an illness. So if we had any other illness, we'd go and get help, and straight away. And I think the knowledge of mental illness and depression, there's more awareness, there's more help out there. And I say things like, I went to my psychos, I call them psychos in a nice way, my psychiatrist and that sort of stuff. And I tried a couple until I found the person that got me, and she said to me one day, "Am I going on? Do you need me to stop?"
We'll be stopping soon, in about a minute.
Yeah, sorry, I could be talking too much. But, she said to me, if you're running a rugby training and you have a sore hamstring, what do you do? And I said, well, I'll stop, I'll ice it, and then I'll probably go and see the physio. And she said, well, why don't you do that with your brain? And I went, yeah, good point.
And that says it all, doesn't it? This book is fantastic. It's called All Blacks Don't Cry. There's great Q&As at the back of it as well. You will find out all about John's journey with it and some amazing inspirational situations and things in there too. So, well done. It's a lovely book. I really, really enjoyed reading it, and I know that this could be something that you or a member of your family, someone that you know, will gain a lot from. So it is in stores now. So, John, thank you very much. We really appreciate you coming on to Good Living. Lovely to meet you.